Hi, friends. Welcome to Direct Impact Broadcasting. The network of growth and transformation presents S.O.S For Leaders, where your host, Tywauna Wilson, will be sharing leadership and personal growth strategies. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to S.O.S For Leaders. I am your host and leadership mentor, Tywauna Wilson. S.O.S For Leaders is a weekly podcast that gives you bite-sized, practical, ready to implement strategies that you can use in both your personal and professional life. This podcast is meant to inspire you to take action or encourage others to take action, which is what we're going to be talking about today, encouraging others to take action, which we are building off of our podcast from last week that challenged us to think about the reasons that we are not taking action ourselves. So we have to start with ourselves. And then we move into being able to encourage others to take action. And next week, we will talk about how we can take action by trying something new. If this is your first time tuning in to S.O.S For Leaders, thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast. I definitely appreciate your support and listening. Please do me a favor and share this podcast out to everybody in your network. Everybody who could benefit from listening to this short podcast that will give them just what they need to get going today. You never know who needs the message. You could be the key that will open up somebody else's door. So you could be the messenger for somebody else that needs this today. So if you could take a few seconds, the best way to support is to go ahead and share this broadcast out with somebody who could use it. You can subscribe to all previous episodes by going to directimpactbroadcasting.com, or you can catch the show on your favorite podcast platform. So let's jump into today's episode. I want to start off with a quote by Napoleon Hill, because when I think about action, I also think about success. And there's this quote from Napoleon Hill that says, "Before success comes in any man's life, he's sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failures. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and the most logical thing to do is to quit." That's exactly what the majority of men do. And when I think about that quote and think about success, he's right in that the journey to success is not always easy. And it starts with us taking action. And from last week's podcast, we understand that sometimes we don't know where to start taking action. Sometimes it's that fear of failure. Sometimes it's procrastination. And not only do we not take action, we also have those people in our circle who may need some encouragement in taking action as well. They are just on the other side of success, and they could be counting on you to help them with that positive smile, that positive energy, that enthusiasm, that encouragement to help them get going. So whether you are a coach, a leader, a mentor, a manager, a parent, you work with our youth, the next generation of leaders, encouraging them to be able to see that potential within themselves, to be able to take action is critical. So do you have that friend, or maybe it's a colleague who has amazing plans, but they don't seem interested in taking action? And again, that interest could be one of the reasons we talked about, the whole failure, procrastination, don't know where to start. You may feel that you want to give them a nudge in the right direction, but you aren't exactly sure how to go about doing it. And that could be a variety of reasons. You don't know how they're going to take it. You don't know what to say. Maybe you said something before and it didn't resonate with them and they didn't take action. Don't give up. I'm going to give you some things to try today, and come on, you have to commit to trying them so that you can encourage somebody else. And you never know, in the midst of you encouraging them, you will probably be encouraged yourself. So I'm going to give you some practical things that you can do to encourage them to take action. The first thing is to use storytelling. We all like a good story. Don't you like a good story or a good example to make it resonate with you or make it practical? I am a person that loves reading books, but have you ever read a memoir of someone famous that encouraged you to get going? I can remember reading Becoming, Michelle Obama's book, and I was like, wow, she did all of that, or she went through that, and I'm sitting on these great ideas. I need to get going. It's amazing how the stories of others can truly be motivating. And it doesn't have to be somebody famous. Anybody in your life that cares about you or inspired you on your journey or the journey of someone you know. So don't be afraid to share a story or so with your colleague, with your mentee, with your children, because it's those stories that help people get going. I work with a lot of laboratorians, and one of the things that I try to instill in them is that it doesn't matter how you start, but how you finish. And those that know my laboratory story, you know that this story didn't start off with tons of success. And my career, as I say, was almost canceled before it even got started because I couldn't pass the test. And in my industry, you got to pass the test in order to be credentialed, in order to be able to work. And so, it was the stories. I can remember going through that and having a colleague of mine just tell me the stories about his daughter in medical school and about, how she didn't give up and what did she do. And it sparked some motivation in me to try something different, to take some different action steps. So those stories definitely make a difference in people's lives. If you hear any great speaker, you will always hear them use the use of stories, that power of stories. So that is one of the things that you can do to encourage others to take action is the power of storytelling or examples. You can also take action with them. Taking action alone can seem scary and daunting. It can seem like a big mountain to climb, but you can always offer to be there for them. You can always adjust how much of the journey you travel with them. So, for example, I know health and fitness is a big deal. So if your friend wants to get in shape, offer to go to the gym with them once a week. Now, if their goal is 7 days a week, just once a week. Although you won't be there with them every day of the week, they will still appreciate you being there with them and supporting them on their journey. As they say, teamwork makes the dream work. And so that's a huge deal in helping others take action. Another thing you can do is if they are applying for a new job, this is much more difficult to do with them, but you could still offer to look over their resume or even offer to drive them to the interview if you know they get anxiety before the interview or they get such nervous energy. So that's something that you can do. Sometimes they just need a pep talk. And the last thing you can do is don't point out their mistakes. We all make mistakes, and on the journey, if you're not making mistakes, you're not taking enough action. So let's face it, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to have some failures, but nobody wants it pointed out to them all the time. So as friends, as leaders, as mentors, as parents, we can be more encouraging, but sometimes we can also bring our loved ones and our colleagues down as well. So this is why if you want to encourage someone to take action, make sure you are saying the right things, right? And make sure you're saying them with the right tone. And it, as my mom used to say, it's not always what you say, is how you say it. So if they make a mistake, don't point it out unless they ask you about it, and highlight the things that they did well. When you notice them having a rough day, ensure that you keep your tone positive and lighthearted. And additionally, before you offer advice, always ask if they want it. Sometimes they just want you to listen, not necessarily to solve anything or give advice. So sometimes all the encouragement a person needs is to vent about their situation and be given a little motivation. So encouraging others to take action isn't always the easiest thing to do. However, if you use the power of storytelling and the use of those examples and offering to take action with them and always react in a supportive manner, you may be surprised at just how much of an impact and effect that you can have on their life. So I hope this episode were some tidbits that you can use to encourage others. And maybe you just needed those reminders for yourself to get you to continue to take action. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast. Please share this out. Again, today people need encouragement more than ever. And you could have somebody in your circle, in your community, in your workplace, sitting on their dreams, waiting to take action, but they just need that motivation, that assistance, that enthusiasm, that positive attitude or smile from somebody just like you to get them to take the first step. Share this podcast out with somebody that can use it. And until next time, have a super amazing week.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of S.O.S For Leaders, where Tywauna shared nuggets of wisdom that you can use to win in life. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and connect on LinkedIn. And remember, the secrets of success in your life resides inside of you. When you know what your strengths are, you can utilize them to live an impactful and influential life.